And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
Hey, here we are. It really never
Here.
stops.
Nope, never, ever, never stops.
Just take intermittent pauses, which really aren't stoppages. We're just giving you a chance to revel.
Pretty much, we just camp out until the next one.
Yeah, soak, I believe, was the word of the day on a few episodes back. So soak in it,
Yes,
and then come back for some more. It's great.
absolutely,
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah. Riley, did you see any worthwhile movies lately?
I can think of maybe one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Spider-Man back in December. That was good.
that was good.
That was really good.
That was really good. Oh man, what was it?
Morbius. No, wait.
Nope, that's in April.
That's later. That's later.
Man, it's on the tip of my tongue.
DC League of Super Pets.
No, that's not out yet. But Keanu Reeves is playing the Batman.
That's it. The Batman movie. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That one. Okay.
Animated,
Oh,
voiced
right.
by Keanu Reeves.
Fantastic. Good for
Which-
Keanu.
Actually, his
It's perfect.
voice,
It's
his voice
perfect.
is not actually that bad.
No, it's actually pretty great.
It's like him and the dog. Have you seen the trailer? Yeah, they
Yes.
both have their
Yes.
sad backstories. I was like, I can vibe with this. I was like, I actually kind of want to see this movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of like intrigued.
I'm gonna go watch it. There's no doubt. There's
okay.
no doubt.
Well-
that got me sold.
Yeah. Okay. Remember, because you're like, ugh.
I know.
You're
You're right.
Ugh. I was like,
I
can't-
ragged on it.
It won't be.
I
that
ragged
bad.
on it. You had the right grasp of the tone.
The right
from the get-go.
mindset,
You
yes.
did. You did. You were an open mind. Here I am, closed off, crusty, old. Get off my lawn.
Crusty.
You know.
Ugh.
Yeah. Right. That's just a terrible adjective to have associated with a person. What's that person like? Yeah, they're kind of crusty.
Ugh.
Eek.
Ugh, I automatically don't want anything to do with you.
No,
like,
which is
stay
appropriate.
Stay 5 feet away from me if you're crusty.
Keep the crustiness
Ugh.
away. No,
Because then
thank you.
that means stuff will come. Ugh.
Right, crumbs.
Yeah.
Crumbs get on you with
Yeah.
crustiness. Yeah, like we got some crumbs over here on the table. Looks like a little reminiscent from a hot dog bun. That's a tough look for us, but nonetheless.
Oh, it's
there
fine.
it
I
is.
didn't even notice.
Yeah, some little kid clearly sat there. I don't know who they're related to at all.
Well, you got like what, 4 or 5 options?
Something like that. I lose track on occasion. Yeah,
They all kind of blend together.
they do.
They look like
do.
the Flash because they're just going so fast by you.
They all
And-
blend
and-
together, and yet they're still wonderful individuals. If I could remember their names, I would be happy to tell you more about them. But we won't get into that today.
That's when you just go thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, thing 4, thing 5. Where's thing 5 at?
Right.
Oh, thing
Where's the
5's
fifth one?
asleep. Thing 2?
Mm-hmm.
What's she doing?
Really missed opportunity on my part to not have named the kids Thing.
You should have.
Somebody has to have done that, right? Like that's got to be out there,
Well,
Doesn't it?
There's a Family Guy gag
right?
where
Right?
they're like, Meg, isn't that short for Megan? And she goes, no, not quite. And it flashbacks to when she was born. And Peter writes Megatron. So that's her full name is
No way.
Megatron.
No way.
Because they got to Meg,
Oh my
and then Lois is like, it's
gosh.
Megan. And then he wrote
My gosh.
Megatron on the birth certificate.
That's outstanding. That's
It was
outstanding.
pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. All that being said, that new Batman movie was really good.
It was good.
It was really good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to, chatting about that a little
We're
bit.
gonna break it all down.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about how, there's a couple spin-off shows coming out of it.
Yep.
Same uni,
Yep.
same universe.
Right. Some delicious aftershocks from that glorious earthquake.
And then all the Netflix shows from Marvel getting moved over to Disney Plus.
How about that? Getting new life breathed into them. I don't know if that's, we'll have to talk a little bit about the business side of it as far as is that bad for Netflix? I think it is, but
Oh, it's got to be.
can't
But-
be good.
But then again, they're just sitting there for Netflix. They were no longer,
Yep. Yeah.
I have to go get Netflix to watch the new season of Defenders. No,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a thing.
Correct. So, yeah, that's good. A lot of good topics to hit. What a time to be alive. We're in the prime of the superhero movie. We're in the golden age.
We are
and
the
that
golden
age
age.
has. I don't know how long it's going to run for. I don't know when it's going to peter out. But
Hopefully forever.
tell you what, we're in the thick of it, and we just keep getting blessed with delightful new chapters in this ongoing story. It's fantastic. Super excited to chat about it. So here's something before we get into that. I I have to share a little something with you. I haven't played fantasy sports in a while.
Okay, yeah.
Got into fantasy baseball.
Okay.
Okay, had some buddies reach out.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to bring up.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. Will there be a baseball season? Like, is that actually going to happen?
No, that is not at all what I thought you were going to bring up.
Oh, what do you think I was going to go with that?
Well, we can talk about that after the baseball thing. I have no idea. I don't know much about baseball.
Yeah. So I'm in it. The draft was last night. Truly have no idea how well I did at the drafting process. Time will tell. Again, if there's an actual freaking season.
How does that even work? So you play fantasy baseball for like 9 months?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. So my understanding is you have a matchup that lasts 7 days against your opponent. And you have a roster, at least in this league, of
18.
It's like 12 players. So each like infield position, and it might even be more than that. No, it's like 14. It is a sizable roster.
That's what you start 14 people?
Right, you start 14 people. So 5 pitchers, I think, and then 9 position players. And there are 12 total stats that you can win or lose during that week. So like RBIs, home runs, wins, losses for pitchers, that kind of stuff.
Straight over my head.
It's okay. But I'd really love for there to be an actual Major League Baseball season, which right now is kind of in question.
Otherwise, you drafted for no reason.
Otherwise, I drafted and paid $40 for no reason.
Well, they'd probably just give you your money back.
I mean, they will. But I would
That
I'd still feel cheated.
That was the entry fee was $40?
It's $40. Yeah, kind of big time.
You take the whole pot?
If I do, that'd be great. I don't think I will, though.
And then how many guys you got in there?
12? Pretty big league. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So there's my little story about me. Fantasy baseball. We'll see how it goes. Check in around Morbius time and we'll know more.
That's about a Morbius movie away. Okay. Yeah, because I thought you were going to bring up how the Seahawks just traded Russell Wilson to the Broncos.
You know what? That's unexpected. Unexpected.
I thought he was going to retire Seahawk. I'm not going to lie.
Pretty weird. Yeah, pretty weird.
It's going to be super weird.
Should we have a branch off podcast where we talk sports? I think people would love that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I can talk football, basketball all day
Great.
long. Baseball, I
can bring some baseball to you. It's fine. Fine.
Well, we'll
diversify our portfolio.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's fine with me.
It's great. Well, athletics notwithstanding, I don't truly know how to naturally segue from that into the Batman movie, but let's talk the freaking
Bruce
Batman
Wayne knows
movie.
how to pitch a baseball.
Okay.
Therefore,
does he though? I feel like for as good as Batman is in physical confrontation, I have a hard time seeing any of the Bruce Waynes and Batmans that we've seen on the big screen as good athletes.
Oh, Ben Affleck could definitely throw a knuckleball. For sure.
A little knuck piece.
For sure.
Okay.
Christian Bale probably hits dingers left and right. If he's in the Dark Knight physique, he's hitting dingers left and right. Robert Pattinson.
Like slow pitch softball dingers or?
No, well, I mean like just bombs.
Okay.
Just bombs in general.
Okay.
And
just doing well. Yep.
And then Michael Keaton looks now like he could be a baseball manager.
He could speak intelligently about sports.
Yeah. I feel like he would be like.
He would hold his own.
He'd make all the lineups. He'd do all that. And then Robert Pattinson doesn't look like he will ever touch a baseball bat. Because he's not interested. Yeah. That's why. Not because he's a nerd.
Interesting. Okay.
Because
he's not interested.
He looks like it's disinteresting.
Does not care.
I think he'd get bored from baseball.
Okay.
So therefore, Battinson, baseball bat. It was right in front of me, and I didn't do that. Instead, I said, I bet Bruce Wayne could throw a pitch. I'm sorry. I've let everyone down.
Hey, it's all right. Well, you and I had the pleasure of seeing the Batman movie together. There were no athletic references in the movie. And there was plenty of time for them to have made an athletic reference, considering it was just about a 3-hour movie. Yes. What a beast of a runtime. What'd you think, Riles?
After I've had time to fully digest it.
Yes.
I think that might be the best comic book accurate movie for Batman we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Comic accurate. I didn't say best, but I'm saying comic accurate wise. That felt, honest to God, that felt like I could have read that in a comic book. and it would have felt right.
Yeah, and I've got to give credit to you because on our previous episode where we were previewing this movie, you said that this was what there is room for. There has not yet been, up until this movie, a Batman movie that has intentionally tried to be comic book accurate. There's been takes, there's been perspectives, but there hasn't been a, what I would call, open-armed embrace and then display of, hey, here's Batman straight out of the comics as true as we can portray him. So, well done.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah, you crushed that.
was
You were right. You said,
soaking that in.
my crustiness was coming up again in the last episode. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out, man. And you're like, JP, let me tell you, there's room, and here's where that room is. And you were absolutely right. Absolutely right.
It feels good.
It does. It should feel good. That's
Feels
a
good.
big W for you.
I wasn't worried. Honestly, I wasn't worried at all because I know Robert Pattinson's a big Batman fan,
Mm-hmm.
and he was thoroughly, like, I've seen some interview clips from him, and he just seemed thoroughly ecstatic to
Sure.
have this role.
Sure.
So, because I think
Well,
he's-
from my understanding, Matt Reeves, the director, is a lifelong Batman friend as well.
I believe that.
Friend of the Batman.
And fun fact, the cinematographer for this movie
Yeah.
also was the cinematographer for Dune. And what was he also? I just saw.
Really?
I think I sent this to my
Okay.
buddy. Let me
Okay.
see if I can find it.
Yeah. No, I agree with your take. It was extraordinarily comic book accurate. And there's, and that in and of itself is still kind of a broad statement just because there are so many comic book interpretations
Yes.
of that character. But it just felt like it was so comfortable in its own skin. It had such a strong identity. And I think that was my biggest concern going into this movie is the marketing for it. To me, didn't feel like whoever's got that marketing wing, right? That's a separate group from whoever's actually making the movie, which is such a weird relationship. But nonetheless, it didn't feel like they had a great idea for, hey, here's how we should market this movie. And I also got to say in their defense, I'm still not sure how you market that movie. Like, that's a dark movie, really grim, hard to put together a trailer that I think at least the general population goes in 2 minutes, hey, looks like a good time. I'll go see that. I think once you get there and once you watch it, it's certainly worthwhile. But anyhow, point is the identity was so strong within this movie that it was a delight. Like I'm looking forward to the future already for this what do I want to say, like universe of Batman, because it was so compelling, so rich, so deep. That is a unbelievable accomplishment considering how many Batman movies there have already been. For this movie to have done something that leaves me feeling like, wow, there's a lot more to tell. There's a lot more to explore, and I'm this eager to see that.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot what I was gonna look up, but I couldn't
good.
find it anyways in the messages. So I looked at it. And I'm like, oh, I found something else that's relevant to this, but I totally forgot what I was gonna look up.
It's outstanding.
So that was fun.
That's
But then I
outstanding.
was thoroughly enjoying your take.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna take full credit for distracting you with.
There, I remembered it.
You got it. You got it.
Oh my gosh, who?
Here's something else. So there is so much to unpack here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So much to unpack. Here is where I think we should start, all right? Always good to start with the positives, of course. What were some things for you? And this is just super broad, so it could be actors, storyline points, costume design, etc. What were some things for you that were just delights, right? Where you went, well, that was surprisingly great.
Okay.
Like your expectation was modest going in, and it was exceeded.
Okay, I never, ever in my life, you can ask Chance, you can ask anybody I talk to movies about. I never say this.
Fair
I
enough.
thoroughly enjoyed the cinematography of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography for you was perfect.
Yep.
I think this is the best Gotham we've ever gotten. They all felt super realistic. It was kind of that grunge, dark, like It felt like there were seriously scary parts.
That's good.
of
Yeah,
the
I
city.
got to chew on that. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the Iceberg Lounge was perfect setting, like, for all their stuff.
Yep.
Even, like, the warehouse. Wayne Manor was phenomenal. Although the only weird thing I thought was weird that it was kind of in the city.
Yeah.
Like, it was in the city.
That was right. That was legitimately a reinterpretation.
Yeah.
that we've never seen that, as far as I know, in comics. Certainly haven't seen it in movies. A little bit with The Dark Knight, where Bruce Wayne's living in the penthouse in the middle of the city, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that's not nearly the same thing as saying, no, the Wayne family home is a skyscraper in the
pretty much,
city.
Yeah, it's center. Like,
Yes.
And it's still a mansion, but
Yep.
it's like, it's the centerpiece,
Yep.
which I thought was weird. So my guess is, like, the Wayne business also takes place in the mansion. Like, there must
Sure.
be 2 in 1. That's a guess.
Sure.
It's a guess for me. But, yeah.
That's a
it's
good pull. Yeah, the city.
The cinematography was beautiful. Like, all
Yeah.
the artwork was beautiful. Him coming out of the fire after he flips the penguin over, and the penguin's like, "Yeah, I got him," and he's like, "Nah," and he just does that walk,
Yeah.
and you can see
Yeah.
the penguin's face go, "Oh, I messed up. I screwed up. I'm dead. I'm a dead man."
Yep.
But
That's a great pull.
that's probably one of the best, like,
Yeah, surprises, right? You know, you and I, there are some people I'm sure that go to films, go to movies. Look at me trying to sound sophisticated by calling it a film rather than a movie. Hilarious. A little self-burn there. That go to a movie looking particularly for the cinematography in terms of hey, this is going to dictate how much I enjoy this movie, right? But that's not me either. I think I've learned to appreciate it, but it's certainly not something that has ever been a relevant factor where I go, yeah, the cinematography was just kind of mediocre. It can stand out in a really positive way when the visuals are exceptionally unique, but that's what it takes for me to notice it. And so I think you're spot on with this movie. It was gorgeous, which is a weird thing to say because it was such a dark, like grim movie, but it was beautiful at the same time. It was beautiful.
it was amazing, and even, like, yeah, it was beautiful.
It
That's all I gotta
was.
say. But
It was. It just, like, the shots, there was so little, like, quick editing, right, from one shot to the next. It was just allowed to savor what we were taking in visually. I enjoyed that. I appreciated the heck out of that.
yeah, never say that about movies.
Yeah.
Ever. That was the first time.
That's
he
great.
That's it. Rogue One. Yeah, this dude's got a lot.
Yeah. Rogue One, a Star Wars story for our guy. We're talking cinematographer Greg Fraser. Which is great.
He's good.
Yep. Dune, relatively recent. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, outstanding. Zero Dark 30, love that movie. That's incredible. So good for you, Mr. Fraser. Well done. Job well done. Something that I wanted to point out that I was really pleasantly surprised with as far as how I enjoyed it was the bat suit. With the trailers, when they originally came out, I was really nervous
Yes.
that this movie was trying to intentionally strip the tech away from Batman, and it had gone too far down that path. Like the boots in particular, I remember seeing and thinking, did he just buy some
But it added so much to the
Walmart
scenes.
specials and spray paint them black? But they were great. It genuinely worked really well because it didn't seem like a cheap, hastily cobbled together suit. It was a rough suit. It wasn't smooth,
No.
but it was, it was as close to Batman wearing like medieval armor.
In a sense.
Yeah, in a suit that I've seen, like the shoulder plates that he had, the fact that he could just take a pounding in that suit.
Dude, he got
Was
the
incredible.
living shit beat out of him.
It was incredible. He got shot so many times.
So many times.
So many times, and just walked straight through the gunfire consistently, multiple occasions. One exception, but in general, just plowed right through. It was such a hulking like menacing suit. It looked cool. And the bat suit almost always looks cool.
Yeah.
And so I was concerned with, again, the trailers leading into this movie. I thought, boy, what they're showing us, I'm nervous that they've gone too far down that, hey, let's strip it down a little bit. And that did not happen at all. It was an outstanding suit. The fact that he could take the bat symbol right out of the chest, I think that's a feature in the Arkham games.
Is it?
I think
can't
it
remember.
is.
I haven't
Yep.
played it in
yeah,
a
it's
while.
been a long time since I've played those. But that was a sweet touch.
I saw that and it's like, I was like, I don't know
Yep.
how I feel about
That's
that.
fair.
Because
That's
I was like, of course. that was my whole thing. I was like, oh, of course. That's what that's there for. Of course you can take that out. That's what mine was.
Sure.
But I will say, my love and hates with the suit. I think the boots really added to the scenes because
Yep.
you could...
You
you're
could hear him.
You can hear him coming.
This isn't
And you're
the
like,
guy that's been trained by the League of Shadows.
well,
League of Assassins.
He's, you know what? He still can be.
Sure.
And then he just was like,
But he's
I don't-
choosing to be loud.
well, because I think part of me thinks he wants it. Like he wants
There is
them
no
to
doubt.
know he's coming.
There is no doubt.
Because that's what I love about this version of Batman at this point in the story is he's okay with taking hits. Mm-hmm. He just wants to be in there. Mm-hmm. But and then the tech, surprisingly, that he had with
Yep.
that suit.
Yep.
Like the tasers.
Right?
And your chest batarang,
Right.
And then the fact that this is the thing that I have a little beef with, but like just the fact that he had like a little pocket on his suit for a shot injection of I'm assuming adrenaline. Some people
Yep.
online are like, oh, he made Venom. I'm like, okay, let's not go that far. But just
Right,
injecting
agreed.
himself with adrenaline, I'm like, I'm like, you're telling me he cut out a little perfectly pop cap size circle in his pants.
He's Batman, baby.
I was just like, really? I was like, really? I was like, okay, whatever. And then, I think they can improve on the cowl. The cowl's not my favorite. I'm just talking the mask. Like everything else
Yep.
worked great for me, but like I
And when
also
you're
know,
bringing up the cowl because it went too far down the, okay, this looks a little homemade action.
But
Yep.
I also know it's like this is probably his first suit. Like whatever metal he's using, he needs to keep using it because he's taking bullet holes left
Right,
and
you
right.
save that for version 2.
Oh yeah, but like
Yeah.
I understand that this is not like the cleaner version yet. He's
Yep.
not
Yep.
fully mastered the suit, and I think that'll just come in time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
That dude, so violent. I loved
It was
it.
incredible. What else were you pleasantly surprised by? Cinematography's great pull. I enjoyed the suit. What else for you?
I think the relationship between him and Gordon was really phenomenal
Yeah.
because you can tell that they already had this established relationship.
There's already trust there.
There's already a lot of trust.
Right.
The commissioner doesn't like the relationship at all at this
Right.
point in time because he's like, dude, why are you bringing this guy? Jim doesn't really care because he knows he's helping the city out.
Yep.
And there's just this like, there's this trust that's already established. They kind of have their own side gig. They kind of had that like, I know it's kind of from the movie a little bit, but it is kind of the good cop, bad cop in the sense like
Correct.
they work and they just work extremely well together. It felt
Yep.
like they were partners more than it was just Gordon going, "Hey man, there's
Hitting the
trouble
bat
over
signal,
here."
saying, "Okay, well, I'm in over my head here."
Yep, go
That's
ahead,
a great
have
point.
fun.
That's a
Instead-
really good point.
Like Gordon was so useful in these
Yeah.
movies. Not saying that he wasn't in like the other ones, but this one.
No, we're just calling out the positives here.
this relationship was just solid, like
Yeah, a partnership.
all the way around. I was impressed.
Yeah, that's really good, Riley. I agree, and I don't think I appreciated it as much as I should have, but you bringing it up and calling it that partnership is helpful to me because I really, really enjoyed Gary Oldman as
He was phenomenal.
as Gordon.
He might always be my favorite Gordon.
Yeah, and so I think, so I need to be careful because I don't want to play the comparison game, especially not in this discussion because both of those iterations of those characters have been terrific. But you're right, that was a real strength of the relationship. with those two, with Batman and Gordon in this movie, and that trust. And I like where they've chosen to start with the character in year 2 and just introducing both Gordon and Batman, and we as the audience have to accept that, hey, these guys have been through enough together where they've got this trust. And even though we haven't seen that's something we can buy into. And they really pulled that off in this movie, because there wasn't even conversation between, they didn't even reference, right? Gordon and Batman didn't reference, well, remember back in the day.
Thank God.
None of that.
We didn't need it. It wasn't needed.
We didn't need it. And that's incredible. That's pretty rare to be put in the middle of a couple characters' stories and not have to have exposition to explain, why do you guys trust each other so completely? But they do. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool to see. And like you said, Gordon is an asset to Batman. Like Batman knows that he needs Gordon, not just for access to crime scenes. Man, he can get into a crime scene after hours, as we saw, if he wants. But for the partnership aspect of solving the crime was extraordinarily helpful to Batman. So, yeah, that's really great. I had no idea that Carmine Falcone was going to be such a critical part of this movie. We knew that John Turturro had been cast as Falcone, but he was in none of the trailers. Absolutely zero.
You think,
right? I don't think he was in any of them.
I see him just a touch, because I can't remember if they show like kind of that funeral scene, and I can't remember if they show him coming out of that with Penguin or not, or if I'm thinking of like the first couple of like set pictures.
I remember seeing the actor that played the commissioner in one of the trailers and knowing how much of a physical transformation Colin Farrell had to go through.
Which was amazing.
Which we'll get to that, right? Yeah. That was unreal. I thought, well, maybe that's John. I was like looking for John Turturro in there, but then he's literally just in the movie as himself. John Turturro, a.k.a. in this case, Carmine Falcone. And it was great. Like he was great. He was outstanding. He was such a slithery, slimy dude, but a perfect villain. And remember, we were talking about, hey, who's that villain that we don't know that's going to show up in this movie? And we were hypothesizing, well, Court of Owls could kind of come to pass in this film, or maybe a different supervillain. I had no idea that Carmine Falcone was going to be that guy, be that hidden villain that we hadn't really seen revealed in any of the marketing yet, that played such a significant role. He was great.
That was such a weird casting for me, first part.
Yep.
Like, because the only other thing I've seen that actor in is Transformers movies.
Oh my goodness.
And if you remember how off the wall that just character that he played is.
Just a goof.
I was just waiting for that. I was just waiting for,
yep.
Where'd the shots go? I don't know. Kind of thing. But
one man, alone, betrayed by the country he loves. It's a hilarious scene. Hilarious.
But that's my point. Like, I was just waiting for that,
waiting for the goof to show up.
And also, I think this is a weird twist, I thought, for them to just do.
Yep.
And that was making Carmine Catwoman's dad. I thought that was a weird twist, because in the comics, her dad is already kind of a thief anyways. It's not Carmine, but it's like he had his own like criminal past, and he's like the Cat or something.
Here's what's fascinating. It is Carmine Falcone in, probably not like Batman canon necessarily, but in the Long Halloween, which is one of my favorite Batman stories. Came out late 90s, I think. Long Halloween and then Dark Victory, we find out that Carmine Falcone is Catwoman's dad in that story. So there's some comic precedent.
Okay, now I'm not as upset.
Sure, but I understand where you're coming from.
But
I wondered that, because in fairness to you, when they made that reveal in the movie, I enjoyed it, but I also wondered, I'm like, does that work for someone that hasn't read the comic? Or are they going, okay, come on, that's a bit thin. I didn't need that for this character.
But at the same time, I was kind of glad, because when they meet in the club, it gave off that vibe of
it was weird.
They did
goosebumps,
stuff.
right?
That's what I was like. Oh, they did stuff. I was like, that makes me uncomfy. And then she's like, yeah, that's my dad. I'm like, Thank the Lord. So that means nothing gross
all
happened.
all that discomfort that Selena
like-
Kyle is clearly feeling has nothing to do with a unfortunate quote unquote romantic encounter. Has everything to do with the fact that, well, this is my dad. I hate him and would love to kill him.
And I love that they gave him the cat scratch
Yep.
from the comics.
Yep.
I was upset they killed him. I was upset that he died.
Okay.
Just because I felt
Okay.
like there's still potential for his character. I think it would have been cool for him to try to retake Gotham back from the Penguin.
Sure.
I also thought that was interesting that Penguin was following him around and then just was like, "You rat." Like he's like,
Yep.
"Screw you,
That was awesome.
you bitch."
It was
He pretty
one of
much
my
called him a
favorite
bitch.
scenes. It's one of my favorite scenes where he's calling him out. Like, it's a totally reckless, terrible move by the Penguin. Like, terrible, no tact whatsoever.
No.
Like, he's being taken away by the good cops, right? The non-corrupted cops that the Penguin cannot manipulate. And he starts, like, name-calling Carmine Falcone in front of all these guys. And then he pulls out a gun to shoot the guy. And the only reason he doesn't is because the Riddler blows him away first.
It's true.
Incredible. Like, the Penguin is this close to shooting Carmine Falcone in front of all the good cops in Gotham City and therefore being incarcerated for life himself. And the Riddler bails him out without knowing it.
It was kind of badass.
Incredible.
Because, yeah, he's like,
So
"You-
reckless.
You bitch." Pretty much is what he said.
just furious
you
with
bitch, You're mine. I can't believe you did that shit.
Incredible. It was incredible.
It was good.
Yeah, it was incredible. Let's just get into it, all right, with the Penguin. We keep referencing the guy. We got to talk about it. I couldn't believe how good he looked. Couldn't believe it. Like, Colin Farrell, we're looking at a picture of Colin Farrell as the Penguin right now. I still don't see Colin Farrell there.
He looks
I
good.
hear him. I can hear him in there enough to go, sure, that's Colin Farrell. But that was unreal makeup and costume design to pull that off. That's incredible.
I still wanted the webbed hands.
That's right.
I don't think we got that,
Don't think we will.
but it's fine, I guess. Because the rest looks good. I kind of hope the top hat and the monocle come in at some point. Because he already had the cane, didn't he? Did he have the cane yet? I can't remember
Alfred
if he had
had
the
a
cane
cane.
yet. Alfred definitely had a cane. I can't remember if he had. He
I
might
don't think
not
so.
have.
No, he was
I don't think
caneless.
so.
He was caneless.
So we just need Batman to brutally wound one of his knees, so he limps around with a cane.
Yeah.
But I also was not comfortable with Ozzy. I wish they
Didn't
would
like the Oz.
No, I just stick with Penguin.
I
Or-
love
or
that they used
Cobblepot.
both. I love that they used both. Like that they were legitimately calling him the Penguin, and that it wasn't this, and that they were just direct and open with it. It wasn't this is kind of weird Penguin, wink, wink. This is silly. Let's never call him that again. That was cool. I liked that. They embraced it.
I'm cool with Cobblepot. I
Okay.
enjoy them calling him Cobblepot.
Cobblepot.
Ozzy just seems like, hey,
It seems gangster. I was okay with it.
Crazy Train. But maybe that's just me.
That's all
But
right. That's all right.
He was the whole chase scene with him and with the Batman. Fantastic.
Dude, I love how reckless this guy is. How nuts
The Penguin?
he is. Yes,
Yes.
where he thinks he's got Batman pinned down prior to that chase scene, and he's just hey, vengeance, come on out, just ready to blow him away, unbeknownst to him.
I got you.
Right, Batman has escaped, and then that was another one of the coolest scenes, another savor this moment where we get, I don't know how, legitimately how long, but we get a nice good stretch of time where Batman's just revving the engine of the Batmobile just to let the Penguin and his boys feel it. Like, that was great. That was so freaking great.
So I saw so much on the Batmobile, and I'm like, I'm not sold on that car.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
And then that scene starts up, and I'm like,
And
I'm sold. I was like,
Right?
Let me hop in shotgun. I'll be Robin. Sweet.
Right?
But yeah, it was unnecessarily long almost.
correct.
But it was definitely.
It was egregious.
It was definitely a taunt at that point. It's like,
Correct.
You think you have a cool car?
Yep.
This is what I made.
Right? You think you got me? No, I got you.
It's beautiful.
Totally agree with you on the Batmobile. I was not in on the design of the Batmobile. Again, as we saw it, in the trailers, but when that puppy got unleashed in the movie, and I think it has everything to do with the sound. Like that's a strong sound.
That's a muscle car right there.
That's a strong sound.
That's got some Fast and Furious NOS in the engine right there.
And he's just, I mean, the shape and look of it, good enough for me. I'm not saying I like embraced it as this was the coolest Batmobile I've ever seen, but good start. The sound was great. I can get on board. I liked how, as far as how it seemed to handle, how it was like just this big hunk of metal on wheels that when you got it going in a certain direction, it's going to take a while for that puppy to stop going that direction. Sideways, forward, either whatever direction.
Yeah.
It was not necessarily clunky, but just heavy in how it moved.
She's a strong car. That was sexy.
That was
for
great.
Sure.
That was really cool. That was really, really friggin' cool. What an awesome scene. Just awesome.
Great.
Yeah. And the Penguin, here's something that I think is worthwhile. Like the Penguin made it tough on the Batman.
Oh, for sure.
That physically, right, as it's portrayed in the comics, is typically something that we go, okay, that's a clear mismatch. Batman and Penguin. Right. You've got 4'6" Oswald Cobblepot
who makes noise
with his
like
webbed
that.
hands, right, making them
Webbed hands and an umbrella.
pretty tough. And then you have
He does have
Batman,
sharp
who's not
teeth, though.
4'6", who's the inverse of that.
His teeth are freaky.
So I really liked this version of the Penguin. Like he's a big hulking dude. He's arrogant. He's reckless. He's dangerous. Like that is a dangerous Penguin.
He openly mocks the Batman
Yeah.
and James Gordon while he's tied up.
Yes.
He's going, "You idiots!
Yes.
You don't know Spanish." Like,
Incredible.
it is.
So that was outstanding. Those are some great positives, Riles. Any other surprising positives for you that are jumping out?
They didn't kill anyone off, really.
Yep.
Minus Carmine.
Right.
That's the only
Right.
main character that
Yep.
we lost.
Yep.
And I'm like, and in the future, it's
And
not
we're
gonna-
big advocates for that, right? Just in case you're wondering, we love it when people don't die.
Yeah, for sure.
In the movies.
Because I feel like, okay, Carmine's okay to not move on with because he is that more minor villain for Batman. He's more of that gangster
there's
level
other guys
threat.
that can fill that role.
There's other guys that
Yep.
can fill it, and yeah.
And frankly, him dying gets out of the way for the Penguin to step into a bigger role in this particular universe.
Because
So
now he's taken over.
Yep.
It will be him.
Yep.
He's
the number 2, so here we go. There's your default new number 1.
Yeah, and that would be good. But it also like as you could in the end of the movie, you have the Riddler talking to Joker, and now was that talk necessary? No, but it is necessary in the sense that okay, they're not done with that Riddler, and I'm okay with that because his look in this was super freaky, and I'll be that guy. I kind of want to see that comic accurate costume at some point.
Okay.
But for the costume fitting, it really fit the vibe of what the Riddler was in this, and he's just a crazy serial killer in this, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it was
Would you call him a serial killer?
100%.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he fits the bill. Yeah, so to piggyback off what you're saying, totally agree on keeping almost everyone of note alive. That's fantastic. That's great because I want more time with all those characters. And movies, when you think about it, are such a, like, compare it to a mini series, right? Where you've got 8 episodes, about 50 minutes long, 400 solid minutes of storytelling, right? If you're going to kill a character off that you've introduced at the beginning of that series, you're going to kill him off at the end. Okay, you've had a long stretch of time to develop that character for us as the audience to get to know him, maybe make our peace with them moving on, and have enough time for them to, if death is necessary for them, for their character arc to conclude, right? Mm-hmm. Movies, even a 3-hour movie, right? That's still 180 minutes. That's still less than half of that miniseries time that we get. So if you're going to introduce a villain in the movie and then kill that villain off in the same movie, or just dismiss them entirely for ever, that's a pretty short amount of time to get with a character. So more and more, I keep coming to your side as well with, dude, keep these villains alive. Like, don't kill them off. Defeat them, fine, but why would they be dead? There's so much more that can be done with that character. So totally agree with your point here.
And because it feels like, yes, this is it's kind of like an origin story almost for Batman, but it's more of like a beginning. It felt like that for the Riddler too. Like, this is just where he's getting started. And it's kind of implied. Like, I know some people are like, oh, why'd they have him talk to the Joker? I understand that, but I think he has to talk with somebody on that level of nuts, psychopathy, where he's like, and that other guy's like, dude, you don't have to be done. You think this is it? Oh, this doesn't have to be it. Because then he's like, oh, it gives him hope. Because then he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna fully go with this Riddler vibe. And I think I figured out why Paul Dano's such a creepy looking dude. I think it's because he's got baby face.
Yes.
I think it's purely because he has baby face.
Yep. And his voice is such a gentle voice. Like, when it's just Paul Dano speaking, he has a really soft voice. Like, he has a soft baby face, and he has a soft voice. But when and I gotta give him credit, he's just a talented dude. When he injects a little bit of something other than soft in his voice, boy, it gets real creepy real fast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think he just needs a full beard or something. And then he'll come off less creepy. I was going to say a mustache, but the dude can't go mustache either. That'll make it worse.
Gosh.
You got to go full beard.
Yep.
And then maybe it'll look better.
Which is a bearded guy, you can say.
I can say.
Yeah.
But that dude's got baby face syndrome.
Yep.
That's why he's so creepy.
Yeah, pretty tough.
And that's just genetics, man. I'm sorry.
Yep. Paul just looks like how Paul looks, and he's parlayed that into I would imagine, fairly lucrative career. So good on you, Paul.
Phenomenal in this.
Yeah, I so totally agree with your take there. Let's pick a couple nits. We've been really positive, and that's good. We don't need to go into negative town. I don't think there's a lot to go into negative town for, quite frankly.
I don't think so either.
But you brought up the design of the Riddler. I don't know. I don't know what I want the Riddler to look like. Like, I'm not sure if I want to go full comic question mark heavy Riddler or not. But this was definitely the Riddler as Hush. Like, from a design perspective, it looked way more like Hush than it did the Riddler. Like, with just the wrapped face, the trench coat that he's wearing, it looked like the Riddler was just being Hush. That's what it felt like to me. And I don't know that that's necessarily negative, but nothing about the look says the Riddler. Nothing. From the comics, right? Like, when I'm picturing the Riddler.
Mark on the trench coat. Like,
yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. So that's just a nit to pick. It's just a nit. It's not a gripe where I'm going, man, I feel robbed. I was looking for the Riddler and looking forward to that style, and I didn't get that. It just, I don't know that I necessarily feel super excited about that.
That's the Riddler I like.
Yep.
It's subtle enough. I don't need Jim Carrey. I have question marks
Jimmy
everywhere.
Freaking Christmas.
But I like the question mark cane. I feel like that's like a staple.
Yep.
And like the green tuxedo.
Right.
And I would have been okay with that.
Get the green in there. That's fair.
That would have been fine, and that's all you need for the Riddler.
Yep. Yeah.
That's all. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I definitely get the Hush vibes. Now,
yep.
Here, there's only one part I was confused about in this movie. This can kind of be a little bit of a nitpick, I guess.
Yep.
So, towards the end, when Batman's on his adrenaline rush and
Sure.
he's beating the shit out of that one guy.
Yep.
And then he goes, "I know you," and he's like, "I'm vengeance." I was very confused on who that was. That got the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, I don't think it's anybody in particular.
Chance said it was the guy that you see earlier at the funeral.
Okay.
That has that weird staring thing with Bruce.
Oh, man. Wow, I'm drawing a complete blank here, Rise.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
There's one that he kind of talks to Bruce. It's just this random dude that talks to him a little bit.
At the funeral or just...
At the funeral, yeah. He comes in and he's like, "Isn't this all kind of crazy?" and something like that. And Bruce is kind of talking to him, and he realized that dude's kind of nuts. But then they have that weird stare. Towards the end. Yeah. That's Chance said that's who that was.
Okay.
But I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't think so. I've got two very different images in my mind of those actors' faces.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it. If Chance is right, kudos to you, Chance. I'm gonna scroll through some IMDb cast list here, to see if I can pick up on any hints or any clues. So possible,
But
possible.
I guess another nitpick too was that, well, because at the time when the reveal first happens with Thomas and Martha Wayne, I was kind of like, I don't like them being dirty.
Yep.
Like, I don't like them being compromised because I think that takes away from Bruce.
Sure.
Because to me, I feel like if he would have been told that, and if Alfred somehow was in a coma, he kills whoever's next. Like, I think his whole kill rule goes out the window. I don't think he cares anymore.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
So, because for him, there's no reason to leave people alive because he's like, oh, my parents were shitty.
Right.
I'm not shitty.
Right.
Or I can be shitty because they are who I look up to.
Okay. Sure.
That's a creepy looking dude.
Yeah, there's that guy. Yeah, see, I think this is the dude that was on Mass. So I think different.
You think there are different people?
Individuals.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I respect Chance's perspective.
Well, I was
there.
just confused because he's like, I've seen you before. And I was like, is this another villain setup? I was super confused.
Yeah.
But
I think it was more just kind of a generic
I was
statement rather than a specific actual call to him having seen him.
I think it was cool to see that the Wayne family and the Arkham family are the two major families that set Gotham up.
Right.
I think that's important
Yep.
because I think that does set up for a Court of Owls possibility.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
that sets up for
Oh
lots
my
of
gosh.
possibilities.
Yeah.
I think
It's certainly there. If they choose not to go down that road, okay. But my goodness, it sure feels like they want to.
yeah, and then it's so you have that, and then you have where I thought it was weird for them to point out Martha did spend some time in the loony bin. Because we don't know why she spent time in the loony bin.
Yep.
And I mean, she is the Joker when it comes to the Flashpoint, so I mean, I guess it's kind of accessible there. Where you're like, okay, I guess her character is susceptible to that, but I was still confused on why.
Yeah.
And then to see Thomas be like, "Oh, I'm going to try to save my wife," and then he didn't intend for whatever happened.
Yep.
That makes sense to me.
Yep.
But then I was also worried, like, oh, great, so now Carmine killed his parents. He's going to do something to Carmine. And then they're like, I love how Alfred pointed out, he's like, I don't know who shot your parents in that alley. It could have been, but it could have been just some random mugger at the time, and Carmine got lucky.
Yep.
Like, and I appreciated that from that standpoint. But they don't, like, really mention if Bruce was there or not. I thought that was kind of weird. It almost sounded like Bruce wasn't present during the shooting. But maybe that's just me inferring off that inference.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I don't remember them saying directly that he wasn't. I missed if that was what they were going for. I missed that. What was really powerful for me was really early in the movie when the son of the mayor is sitting in the room where he found his, dead dad, and Batman's just looking at him, and without them actually showing a literal flashback to when Bruce Wayne was around his dead parents. To me, that was a really strong, direct reference to Bruce being where his parents, being around his parents when they were shot.
Now that you bring that up, I bet he was there for sure.
Yeah, so I feel more strongly about that. But it's possibly went a different direction. I don't know how I feel with the direction they chose to go with his parents. It worked as part of the story as far as complicating the relationship that Bruce Wayne felt like he had with Carmine Falcone and his own parents. Like, I get that a little bit. And it gave us some time between Bruce and Alfred, which that is something I would have enjoyed a lot more of. There just wasn't a lot of Alfred
Bruce and Alfred
in this movie. Yes,
I agree.
Yes, and what little we got was terrific. loved Andy Serkis, the little bit we got of him, so I really wanted more of that, and we just didn't get a lot of that because we just frankly didn't get a lot of Bruce Wayne time. Like there was just so little Bruce time. But that's not so much a nit as it is, boy, did we get a lot of Batman, which was great.
And I think that was kind of the point of the movie.
100%.
He's completely abandoned the Bruce Wayne persona. Mm-hmm. He hurt me when he said, "You're not my dad."
Oh.
That one hurt me, and I wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah,
I was like,
that always hurts. So anyway, I don't know yet how I feel about what they've shown us and revealed to us about this version of Thomas and Martha Wayne. My hunch is that in future movies that'll be fleshed out a little bit more. So I'm keeping myself kind of in neutral with that. I don't mind it, but I would be dishonest if I'm saying, "Well, I'm a fan of that." Like, no, I prefer the traditional. Hey, Thomas and Martha were these solid, upstanding citizens, which I still think they were, but this movie certainly added a lot more gray to their color. Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Mm-hmm. I don't think they need to be perfect.
Which in general is fine.
That's human.
I think the movie was misdirecting us for long enough to believe that not only were they not perfect, but they were actually part of the problem, like a big part of the problem. That taste kind of stuck with me a little bit, where I haven't completely washed that clean to go, oh no, okay, they're not messing with Thomas and Martha and trying to turn them into some kind of villain of the past.
Yeah.
So I was grateful for that, but we'll see where this movie proceeds. I thought Zoe Kravitz was terrific as Selena Kyle. That was incredible.
She was good.
That was a great Selena Kyle.
Dude, her and Bruce's relationship throughout the entire movie, I was like, this is Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah.
We're finally getting an accurate
they crushed it.
Relationship.
Again, another comic accurate relationship. It was terrific.
We didn't have to have some random damsel in distress just inserted into the story.
Yeah.
For Bruce to just abandon all moral compass for.
Yeah. I would like to know where on earth she learned how to crack a safe, because she seemed really well practiced and adept at that. And we got zero explanation for where she got those skills. But little nit to pick.
I think we'll find it later.
Little nit to pick.
I wasn't too worried about it.
How about the fact that Alfred, did you catch this line where he's talking to Bruce about how, hey, I can train you how to fight? So the inference being Alfred is the one who has trained Bruce. Not hey, Bruce left Gotham City, trained with the League of Assassins, and now he came back and he's got all these skills. Where are you with that?
I still think it's possible for both to be true.
Okay, that's fair.
Because from what
doesn't have to be an either or.
Because did you ever watch the Gotham TV show?
Nope.
Okay, so it takes place, it's pretty much an origin story for all of Batman.
Yep.
That's the TV show. It focuses on Jim Gordon as he rises up the ranks in Gotham PD. But it also shows a young Bruce Wayne. And now I only watched the first 4 seasons before I kind of fell off.
Sure.
But
how many seasons did that end up going for?
I want to say 6 or 7.
Wow.
But
okay.
And from what I watched and saw, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I heard good things. I think it was actually well made.
But Alfred does start training him at a young age. Alfred trains him at 10 and 12. And by the way, the guy who plays Alfred in Gotham is phenomenal. 10 out of 10 guy.
Sure.
But yes, he kind of trains him a little bit. And then I don't know what happens. My guess is he does leave because at the end of the show he becomes Batman.
Sure.
But so I don't know afterwards what happens. But yeah, I think both is a possibility. I think Alfred got him as far as he could, and then he realized, okay, I need more, and then left.
Right.
Because I don't know, but that's just me. I think they should leave that open. Also, the guy who played Harvey Bullock, I was waiting for a Harvey Bullock to be in this. The guy who plays Harvey Bullock in this show is phenomenal too.
Donald Logue is a stud.
Those two's relationship throughout that entire through that entire show is amazing.
Yeah. I've seen Donald Logue in some other things, and he's good. He's good at what he does. And then
actually, that guy right there, the guy who plays
Ozzy.
The guy who plays Penguin in the show.
Yep.
Is from Iowa. That's an Iowan
Sure.
actor right there,
Okay.
Robin Lord Taylor.
That a boy.
And then the guy who plays Riddler, that's the guy who plays
Yep.
Riddler. He did a phenomenal job too.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of casting and
Sure.
stuff.
Yeah, that's a legit show. That's great. Yeah, I thought Selena Kyle, I thought that portrayal, and like you said, her relationship with Batman their relationship was terrific, was really terrific. I think like with this movie, Riles, as I have had the opportunity to process it, I am really eager to go see it again because it was so freaking dark. Like the Riddler was nasty, man.
Oh, he's a psycho.
He was nasty. And I know we've had adversaries that we've seen of Batman's that have been evil, bad, dark, all those things. But I think what was so different for me with this particular adversary for Batman is the Riddler is a rational serial killer. Like he has clear-cut reasons and motives for what he's doing. He's not just doing it like the Joker for the F of it because it's fun. He's doing it because he is convinced it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying. That was really terrifying. And then, I mean, he is killing people in very unclean fashion. Like nasty, hey, I'm going to torture you quite a bit actually before I actually kill you. That was unsettling, really unsettling. And so where I'm going with this is I was so worried that that was all we were going to get from this movie. The darkness, the depravity. And I get it, like that's part of the Batman character. Like he's in that muck, he's in that mire. But part of what for me is so valuable about the Batman character and why I have enjoyed it for years is that he responds to that with more than just the vengeance and the rage. He responds to it with hope, a very imperfect, flawed version of hope, but he's not this hopeless individual that's just beating people for the heck of it. And that's who this Batman was for a good chunk of the movie. And so by the time it reaches the conclusion and the Riddler, or close to the conclusion, the Riddler is confronting Batman with the reality that, hey man, you're my inspiration. Like, I exist because of what you have done. You inspired me to go down this path. And the Batman takes that and goes, like, this cannot be what I produce. I have to do more than just be angry and be vengeance and be the embodiment of vengeance. I have to be this embodiment of hope. That is where the movie went from, I'm feeling like I've admired it, but I haven't enjoyed it, to where that just transitioned to, okay, you got me. Now I'm in. We've got some genuine character transformation here. We've got hope to go along with all the rest of this dark, nasty baggage. Hope is the response to all of this. Now I'm in. So I ended up enjoying this movie, but it has taken me time to process it. That's part of the reason why, now that I know how it ends, I want to go back and watch it again because I think I'll enjoy it more, not having to be on edge going, man, is this just going to be depressing? It's like, no, it finishes on a high note. It finishes in a very redemptive, hopeful fashion, and that's worthwhile to me. So that's where I'm at with this movie, just overall.
That whole final scene with him and the Riddler,
Yep.
the final scene between those two,
Yes.
where it was just him going, Bruce Wayne, and then like you could see like Bruce processing all this and being like,
This guy knows who I am.
shit. Well, that too. And even after that scene, Chance asked me after the movie, he's like, dude, so did the Riddler like figure out who he was? And I go, no,
Yep.
he didn't. Because
Yep.
at the end, as like that whole conversation, if you like listen, he says, he's
It's
like,
tricky. Like, it's great misdirection.
it is. Because
Yeah.
he's like, he's the only one we didn't get. Because he's like, you and I were trying to work together to get that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Right.
but like, and then I think that, I mean, because you see pretty much the character development within
Yes.
that one scene where
Yes.
he's like, oh crap, what have I become?
Yeah.
And then I saw this online. It's not something that I said or realized, but somebody really
We'll give you credit for it.
But somebody pointed out, like, when he drops into the water, he pretty much is baptized in a sense and becomes the symbol of hope in a sense.
Yeah, rises anew. Yeah,
and then he's
heavily
just saving
symbolic
people.
scene. It was great. It was great. Yeah, I've heard from multiple people that during that scene, when he rises up out of the water, they're like, I got genuinely emotional during that scene. And it's great. It's great. And so because of that payoff, this movie, to me, all that darkness, like, I'll take it for that. I wasn't sure at first, and as I processed it and gone, no, that was worthwhile. I'm in. I'm fascinated just from to pull back a little bit from a more broad lens perspective. I'm fascinated how many people will go see this movie and enjoy it as much as other Batman movies, because it's just a dark, tough movie. Like, people die hard in this movie, and it takes a while for it to get to, like, if it's a 3-hour movie, it takes till the 2-hour 50-minute mark before we've got that hope.
Was this PG-13?
Yeah.
It was PG-13.
Yeah, that's a hard PG-13. That's a hard PG-13.
Because I definitely felt more rated R.
Yes. Yeah.
I definitely felt more rated R.
Boy, it's right up against that line. So it doesn't matter to me in terms of my own enjoyment, but I am also just fascinated to see, since public response tends to influence what comes next, I am fascinated to see if they hold to this dark of a tone or if it gets just a skosh lighter with the inevitable sequels, which I got to say, I'm stoked. Like, I am very excited to see what comes next from this whole group of characters, and that is pretty incredible. They just gave us an origin story for Batman without once showing us his childhood, without taking us back
Thank
over
God.
that.
And
Right.
we didn't need to.
No, we didn't need to. But that's incredible. This was a Batman origin story without delving into anything other than 1 week in his life. It stayed fully in the present. There were no flashbacks. There were very few references to the past, or his Bruce Wayne's past in particular, other people's past, but not Bruce's. That is incredible. That's something else.
And we didn't... What was I going to say?
So there's more of Alfred that we need to see in the future.
Yes, I agree.
I would like to see old Bob Pattinson show off his Bruce Wayne a little bit more.
I would too. I'm hoping he learns how important... I think it was kind of implied too with his talk with the mayor, the mayor-elect.
Yes.
Is that she's like, your parents did a lot for this city. Mm-hmm. You should be doing stuff too.
Right.
And at the time, he's like, I'm Batman. But like,
right.
Now he's like, probably coming out of that, he's like, okay, I can do a lot more overall. And I think we will see that.
It was fascinating. Like, this version of Batman did not want to be Bruce Wayne at all. Like, he had no interest in it.
He wanted vengeance.
He was already a recluse. Like, they told him, dude, you're already a recluse. And we don't know. Alfred talked a little bit, but they didn't dive into it as far as his financial status. He's actually still doing okay because he's living in the freaking skyscraper of Wayne Tower. But at the same time, there was a really strong inference that, hey, things aren't well in the public eye towards Bruce Wayne.
And I think you, as you're watching this, you kind of see him learn, like, okay, I can get stuff done as Bruce for Batman.
Yep.
Because he goes into that funeral scene as Bruce Wayne.
Right.
He goes into the Iceberg Lounge
as
to
Bruce
talk
Wayne.
to Carmine Falcone as Bruce Wayne because he realizes
if I'm Bruce Wayne, I walk up to the door and I'm in. If I'm Batman, I got to beat all these dudes.
And they're going to wonder why I'm questioning about Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Right.
So I think he's going to get to that point in that second movie where he's like, okay, I can get just as much done as Bruce. There's some things Bruce can do that Batman can't. Mm-hmm. Vice versa, there's some things Batman can do that Bruce can't.
Yeah.
I think they'll see that.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Batman managed to accomplish in one movie what it took the newest Spider-Man trilogy to do in 3. Like
That's fair.
we got to
You're
see
right.
we got to see Peter Parker fully become Spider-Man, and then 2-3 months later we get to see Bruce become the Batman, or
Yep.
the Batman become fully what the Batman's supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah, a more fully developed version of what we would expect to see and what we would hope to see.
And I think
Yeah, that's great.
and that's why I'm hoping we do get Robin in the second one, because that will help further his development as a hero.
Yep.
Because he has to mentor this kid, and now he's
Right.
like, oh crap, I'm going to influence on this kid now.
Yeah.
I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, we could, good grief, I feel like we could go on and on this movie, and we've already gone. This is going to be our 3-hour podcast. It won't be. We won't do that. But
No.
What a phenomenal flick. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, and we'll have plenty of opportunity in the coming years, quite frankly.
Oh, for sure.
To rehash different aspects of this movie, and with each subsequent Batman movie that comes out, there'll be more opportunity to come back to this well-tread earth. But for now, we should transition on to, well, wait a minute, just more Batman-related topics. So, spin-off shows.
Yes. So
What do we got?
for sure. So there was a Gotham Police Department TV show that was going to go on HBO Max that
Yep.
got pushed back in a sense.
Yep.
And they're pretty much saying this show evolved from that show, and it's going to be Arkham Asylum.
Yep.
And it's going to focus on all the inmates of Arkham Asylum. I think that's got the most potential out of all of the shows that we're going to mention. But the other show that's confirmed for sure is The Penguin,
Yep.
and it will be focused on Colin Farrell's Penguin taking over
That's wild.
the crime,
Dude,
the
I'm
mob
in.
scene.
I'm in.
I think
That's
so
great.
too. I think it'd be cool to see like minor mobsters
Yeah.
that you're like, oh, that's a Batman villain, and then just I think that would be cool.
That's great.
And then the one that's rumored right now is Catwoman getting an HBO series.
Okay.
But yes. This is also something cool that has nothing. This is all stuff Matt Reeves confirmed. I sent this to Chance today.
Nice. What do we got?
So the Batman has already encountered the Joker in the first 2 years.
Okay.
The Joker has a birth defect on his face. That's why he can't stop smiling.
Okay.
His take is inspired by The Man Who Laughs. I don't know much about that.
Same.
The Joker is also a serial killer, not a fully fledged Joker. And then
Fascinating.
okay.
Okay.
I feel like there was more to that, but I guess that's it.
That's great.
But yes.
Okay. I know I said we were done. Can't be done yet because I forgot to ask this question. I got to ask it. Looking ahead, who, just make one pick for now. We'll unpack this more in later episode. Who would you love to see as one of the primary villains in the next Batman movie?
Okay, so Matt Reeves said that there's a potential for Mr. Freeze. So I won't include Mr. Freeze. I
Okay.
will say
Okay.
I am very hyped for that to be the case because that is a unique. It would be a unique, not necessarily unique, but it would be a new, serious take on a character that got
Just goofed.
goofed entirely
goofed.
with 70+ ice puns,
Oy. Yep.
played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Why was it Arnold for that? Anyways.
Because he could say, cool it. Chill out.
You know, after all this, now, normally in this circumstance, I would probably say Clayface. But if they're doing Arkham Asylum and they're establishing all these villains, I really want Hush.
Okay.
I really want Hush.
Okay.
And that is probably surprising, but
Yeah.
that is a new character.
Yep.
I think it would be cool to see Bruce start to open up again with Thomas
Yep.
Elliott.
Yep.
I think that'd be phenomenal to explore. If Arkham Asylum's already established all these villains, they can pretty much just pick from the toy box on who
Yeah.
they want to use for the
Yep.
movie to manipulate, and I think it'd be phenomenal. I think that's who I want is Hush.
That's gold. That's a great choice.
I don't need Joker. Honestly, I think the Joker's role in this is just to say that he's there, and I think they're saving him for
gotcha.
later.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Save the Joker for later. Save it for movie 6, not
I wasn't comfortable.
not movie 2.
The laugh needs work too. We'll
There's time. There's
digress.
time. Love your pick of Hush. That's great. Court of Owls is what I want. I know it's not an individual, but that is the entity that I would adore seeing in a Batman movie. It's such a phenomenal villainous concept for the character of Batman. That's what I would love to see
And
next.
I think they would work really well with the Riddler in the sense that the Riddler could have found out about them a little bit and then been like, Bruce or Batman.
Yeah.
And be like, there's something else here at play. And then watch them be like, okay, we use him here. This is how he found out about this. Because I'm assuming he found out because he lived in that apartment that all those guys were bad. I can't remember fully, and I could be wrong. But for me, it would have been cooler for them to, like, he didn't find out on his own.
Sure.
Like, they knew that guy was nuts in the brain.
Yep. Fed him some information. Yeah, so that'd be really awesome. Well, those HBO Max spinoffs, I tell you what, out of those three that you mentioned, all three of them I would watch. I would enjoy. So it's going to be fascinating to see what comes next, and there's a rich roster of characters to explore in this universe. So I'm impressed. I'm excited, and quite frankly, pleasantly surprised. My expectations were pretty modest going into this, so I'm so glad that they were exceeded. Pumped. It's going to be great.
I just want a villain that we haven't seen done well or haven't seen at all.
Yeah.
That's my preference. And also, I am kind of leaning more towards Mr. Freeze because I think it's important for people to see, like, okay, yeah, Batman does fight these realistic kind of grounded villains, but I think it's also important to see the Batman taking on a Clayface, taking on a Mr. Freeze, taking on a Man-Bat, because that's what he does.
Yep.
He handles all the freaks.
Yep.
Not just mental, but also physical. And I think that's important because that's why Batman's Rogues Gallery is so good, because there's so many different
Varieties, right?
Varieties, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope we see.
Yeah. That's great. Love it, Riles. Okay. Great Batman talk. Absolutely adore it. We need to hit up the news that on the Marvel side of things, prior to Disney Plus, believe it or not, boys and girls, there was a time when Disney Plus did not exist and rule over all of us. It does now, and we are happy, obedient subjects.
Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, Walt. But in that time, the previous high deity of entertainment, Netflix, produced Marvel shows. Most notable of which, was Daredevil. Incredible.
The devil.
Our guy Charlie Cox portraying Matt Murdock and crushing it. A little bit of a theme here as I come to think of it. The only other actor to have portrayed Daredevil, Ben Affleck, didn't do a great job. Previous Batman that didn't do a great job, Ben Affleck. A little bit of a theme. Hey, Ben Affleck is the guy before the guy.
He doesn't look good in tights.
No. Move on, Ben. Move on. So those Netflix shows, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and The Defenders. Am I missing any? I think I covered them.
Fist.
Thank you. I was.
And
Iron Fist.
You did say Punisher? I think you did.
Is The Punisher coming to Disney Plus?
I'm assuming all of them are.
Wow. If that is, that's some fresh, not kid-friendly content.
Well, all I heard was Disney was upping their parental locks and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, point is, breathe some fresh life into what were largely well-regarded and enjoyed shows. I know I watched the entirety of the Daredevil run, loved it, really liked the first season, loved the third season, enjoyed the first half of the second season that included The Punisher, less enthusiastic about the second half of season 2. I watched the first season of Jessica Jones.
Phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. It also just made my stomach hurt because boy did people die hard in that show.
Second season was not, Second season, I didn't watch the third season. I'm pretty sure there is a third season.
Is there a third season?
I think so.
So I don't think it finished terribly strong. So a mixed bag altogether, but fun to see some fresh life, and perhaps as the multiverse on the Marvel side continues to expand, feels like the timing is not an accident to bring those characters into the streaming platform fold, because don't know how much we'll actually see them in Marvel cinematic content, but we do know we've already gotten our Daredevil tease in Far From Home. Goodness, Jordan. No Way Home.
Well, okay. Is it for sure confirmed they're coming to Disney Plus?
Yes.
Okay. Because I feel like some of those would do better on like a Hulu, where they can kind of just be darker. But I also understand them wanting to keep all their Marvel stuff together on Disney. My only hope and my only request is if they are for sure going to do this, that they don't take away from the show and they keep those tones if they decide to continue.
Sure.
That is my only request. That's why I'm kind of watching the Moon Knight series. I'm going to be watching it very, very closely because I want it to be on that level.
Yeah.
Moon Knight needs to be on that Daredevil level, at least.
Sure.
He doesn't need to go full Punisher. Nobody needs to go full Punisher. But
Important to say that.
yeah. let the Punisher do that. That's great. But he's the only one who really needs to do that. So yes, that's what I'm kind of hoping that goes that route.
Yep.
I don't think it will, but I hope it does.
Yeah. No, I get that. I don't know if there's any genuine rebooting in the works. I know that bare minimum, like Charlie Cox, the actor who played Daredevil, Kevin Feige, have both separately said they want more of Charlie Cox as Daredevil. So he's the most likely candidate, I think, to have his TV show renewed and be given fresh life. I don't know if there's enough momentum for any of those other characters.
Maybe
Jessica Jones?
Maybe Jessica Jones.
Yep.
To me, it sounded like Luke Cage and Iron Fist would get recast. I like the guy who played Luke Cage.
Agreed.
So I hope
he was
he
a great
stays.
fit.
I would be willing to give the Iron Fist actor another chance. I don't think that was all on him.
Sure.
Personally.
Sure.
But I don't think Luke Cage and Iron Fist shows need to continue necessarily. I would almost be okay with them just being like, heroes for hire.
Yep.
And that would be cool with me.
Make the collaborative show.
Because then it's like, you kind of have that buddy cop, but then also it's kind of another team that's kind of unique to itself.
Right.
Or you could have them be the Defenders, that's fine, and have that be your street level Defenders with Daredevil. And
I would enjoy that. You know what? I would really get on board with a collaborative, essentially street level Avengers. I would
cool
really enjoy that. I think you could plug in your street level characters, like Hawkeye can make appearances in there. Kate Bishop can join in. Spider-Man, absolutely. So I think there's a lot of room for that. Again, as we've talked about, as the MCU continues to go more cosmic with this next phase, I think that would be a really welcome change of pace.
For sure.
So I would really enjoy, and I would commit to that. I would watch that. Moon Knight could get tied in there. I mean, let's go. Right? Let's go.
I'm so excited. Moon Knight. When is that release date? Did we figure that out?
No, let me do the quick almighty Google.
So the people know when to expect it.
Well, especially
March 30th.
March 30th.
I was a week off. So it's legit the end of March.
Wow. Yeah, they're just tucking it in there.
We're getting Obi-Wan in May.
Wow. That's right. That's
and
wild.
We haven't had a single damn trailer.
I was just going to ask. We haven't had anything,
We haven't had a
right?
damn trailer yet. But I think Star Wars Celebration is happening soon, so I bet that happens when that happens.
Okay. You know what else we haven't had? And I wonder if we're going to get it or not. Would be
Maybe
another
not.
Doctor Strange trailer.
Maybe. Have we had another one? I mean, they did confirm Patrick Stewart. I don't know if we've confirmed.
Well,
it or not
no,
on
I'm
here.
sorry. Amnesia. They did that for us in the just relatively recently Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So my apologies.
Because they did confirm Patrick Stewart's coming back.
Yep.
Patrick Stewart made some comment where he's like, I can't believe they figured out it was me just off the back of my earlobe and my shoulder and my voice. Like, well, dude, your voice
is distinct.
very iconic.
Yeah.
We're getting Across the Spider-Verse in October.
Dude,
We're going to be eating good.
Tell you what,
again.
for as barren of a wasteland as 2020 turned out to be, we are reaping the benefits of those shenanigans here in 2022. You just had to be patient or impatient, and then either way, it still shows up.
But yeah, so Daredevil. Did they say when that was coming to Disney Plus by chance?
I think middle of this month.
Really?
So I want to say, yeah.
Well, I knew it was off of Netflix because on my Netflix account, I had Daredevil as my profile.
Of course.
And then he was just gone. And I'm like,
That's
why is he gone? I was like,
Terrible.
oh, yeah, that's right. He's moving. And so I had some red fuzzy weird thing. And I was like, no, that's gone. And now it's straight up Optimus Prime. That was my only other option.
Good fallback.
It was one of the
good fallback.
Transformers.
That's great.
I was like, I'll go with Optimus.
I'll go with
That's fine
Optimus.
with me. So,
Optimus is my guy.
but I think we've covered everything.
I think we have, my man. That's a solid episode.
You'll see in the video, but when you turned it back after we were done talking about the Batman and it was an hour, I was like, it's only been an hour?
Dude,
I was like, it was an hour?
I know. And we could just keep going.
God, we could have.
Yeah, that's a reflection of how rich
We just talked
that
for a
movie
third
was.
of the Batman movie.
It was, I know. And there's so much we didn't cover. Hey, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Also, don't see it by yourself. Probably be a little too unsettling.
Oh, yeah. You definitely will not want to walk to your car alone after this movie.
No, but go with a friend.
For
Worthwhile.
sure. And
Excellent stuff.
And then take it in for a day.
100%.
Before you, fully... this is one of those movies you kind of just need to, sit.
You got to process.
You have to sit in it a little bit and think about because you're because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot for a movie. And I don't feel like it feels like a full 3 hours. There are some times that it might drag a little, but not a lot.
Yeah, it's deliberate. I would never at any point call it slow.
No, it's definitely not slow.
Yep.
They keep you intrigued the whole time. Each scene is definitely important.
Yep.
But yes, definitely make sure you sit in it before you make a solid
soak in it.
Yeah, soak in it. I was gonna say soak in it and I forgot. But you soak in it. Don't go watch The Dark Knight immediately afterwards to judge it.
No.
Because that's not fair to you or that movie. Because now I do want to rewatch that Batman trilogy and compare and contrast.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure Chance said that Robert Pattinson is now his favorite Batman after soaking all that in.
Okay.
Which is a very bold take right off the bat. I'd
Yeah.
like to see a little bit more of Pattinson before I
Same.
go full in.
I think what I'm able to do at this stage is compartmentalize that trilogy, which I cherish, and I always will, but compartmentalize it in the sense that I can also leave myself open to this new version and be very excited for that. And so if someone wants to say, hey, this new Batman's my favorite Batman movie ever, okay.
Yep, for
Fair
sure.
enough. You know what? Good for you. I'm all for that, right? Choose what your favorite is. That should be something that you have the freedom to choose and change your mind on as much as you flippin' want. As long as we're not getting into an argument, well, this is better, this is best. No.
Yeah,
Time out.
Don't fight over
Just
it. It's
enjoy
annoying.
both. You
Yes.
can do that. It's not an either
You can
or.
definitely do that.
Enjoy both, and that's where you really come out ahead. That's where you really win because
Don't
they're both
argue.
worth enjoying.
Superman can beat anybody. Oh, so don't do those arguments.
Yep. Well, Superman can't be in a movie, so what do you do? Awesome.
So
Good stuff,
stupid.
Riles. Well done, buddy. Well done.
But on that note, Godspeed.
Peace out.